Yeah, you already know. Accountability is greater than entertainment. For sure it is. Poindexter Lounge, I see you out there, player. I see you. Keep up the good work. Keep doing what you do.
Welcome to the Poindexter Lounge. I'm Enosh's grandma, and I say yes, release the Snydercut.
That's right. Even grandma knows. Congratulations, Zach.
So the film was finished in the cut that I am working on was finished in February of, I think that was it 2017? Yeah, February of 2017. The cut was finished. You know, and then that's the giant, you know, super long version of the movie, my kind of penultimate version. And then the work we did in the subsequent months was to shorten the movie to the studio mandate that we never really got to.
What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Poindexter Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Vet, and it is good to have you with me here in the lounge today. Today's a good day to be in the lounge. It's always a good day to be at the Poindexter Lounge because the Poindexter Lounge is a place for nerds. It's a place where you and me and my crew and friends can get together and talk about the things that we love, things like TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, superheroes, toys. Oh, definitely the Snyder Cut and all things DC all day long. And hey, if those are things that get you going, if those are things that get your blood pumping, if those are things that get you to go out and you know, order cable streaming services or, you know, online internet streaming services, you know, a year in advance, just so that you're ready, then you have found the right place. You are in the right place for sure. So make sure to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know when we do stuff like this, because as our good friend Rasha said, we're constantly putting out some great content. We have been actually just like every day, the last probably like 5 days, we have done a stream of some sort, had some great guests, had some great discussions, some great conversations. And most importantly, you guys are here and you guys make the Poindexter Lounge what it is. To be honest, I love having the conversations that I have with you guys. I love having you guys in on the stream. So please make sure that if you're here, hey, interact in the chat, and we'll definitely be I'll definitely be looking at the chat and pulling up you know, some maybe some statements and some questions from you guys as we go along today. And like I said, it's just good to have you all here. Now, before I bring my guest on today, we'll get into that in just a second, but obviously, we got a lot going on here at the lounge. So grateful for everyone who is a part of the lounge and who supports the channel. So thank you to all of our members. You guys know who you are. Shout out to everybody. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all your support of the channel and all of our Patreon supporters. You guys are fabulous. We're so grateful to all of you. I'm just always humbled that that you guys are supportive of the channel and that you guys do what you do. And so grateful. Also, remember, if you do become a member, you get all the cool you know, emoticons, and there's all kinds of, you know, special stuff that you get. You know, you get everything from a personal stream with me or the family, and then also all the way up to a free t-shirt every month. So you get cool stuff, but also you get these cool emoticons, right? So that you can like have fun during the streams and throw stuff up here and you know, support Ray, do whatever you got to do. And we love that. And so please, if you can, consider that. Also, don't forget, right now, we'll probably talk about this a little bit here during our conversation, but don't forget, we are so close to our goal. We're literally at last check last night. We talked about this. We are at $580. Now, if you're wondering what this is, at the Superman Museum in Metropolis, Illinois, there is a walkway that has these special bricks that are dedicated. People can buy these bricks and dedicate them to their family members. They can. There's some celebrities that have just purchased bricks because they're trying to help out the museum. If you've never been to the Superman Museum, Me and my family went this last summer. It was awesome. It was fantastic in Metropolis and just a great time. And so there's this walkway, and you can see here, there's small little bricks. There's these big bricks. And I got to thinking, the family got to thinking, and we started talking about, we said, you know what better place for there to be a brick that honors somebody who has meant so much to us, who has brought, for me, the version of Superman and these DC characters to life in a way that I always wanted to see, that I always felt should be done. What better person to honor than Zack Snyder himself? And so that is why we are raising the funds. The GoFundMe, there's a link in the description below. Some of you guys have given before that. So even before we got the GoFundMe up and going. So that's why if you go to the GoFundMe, it says about $300, but there's another $280 that was donated. We've put our money where our mouth is and put our money into it. And so you can go there, donate this money for a brick. Anything that happens to be raised above and beyond that, of course, we're donating to suicide prevention and making sure that goes there. But we are going to put Zack Snyder's name and dedicate this to his family there at the Superman Museum, so that one and all, when you go to the Superman Museum, you can see that, and we're not just doing the little one, we're doing the big one, because that's what he deserves. So those are the little things just here that are going on here at the channel. Now, getting all that aside, today is a very special day because there are some wonderful people in the DC community. And over the last few years, people have really come together. People have really shown their support of ZACK and the Snydercut movement, even in the face of all of the junk that has been thrown at DC fans and people who are fans of Zack Snyder's work. I love how the community has really come together in the face of all that, even in the face of, being called the Snyder cult, and, that we're all a bunch of bullies and we all just, we don't, whatever, we all know the stuff that's been out there. We poke fun at it here at the channel and do our little thing. But today is an honor to have my guest with me today. Now, we had planned on having both Nana and Cole here today, the Nerd Queens. So I want you to know that this isn't false advertising. We had originally planned to have them both, but Cole, last minute, she couldn't be with us. So I am very blessed and thankful to be able to welcome my guest today, Nana from the Nerd Queens. Welcome, Nana. It is good to have you.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the
Oh my God,
Poindexter
you gave me such a great welcome. I feel like I don't deserve it.
Hey, you guys are, as far as I'm concerned, you guys are absolute royalty in this community. We just a couple of weeks ago, we had a big event that it turned into a big event. I didn't even mean for it to turn into a big event. I had rented out a movie theater here when our movie theaters reopened, and we all got together and we were going to watch The Empire Strikes Back. And before I knew it, we had people flying in from all over the place. And of course, Meg was there. Wonder Meg was there, and she came to the house here, and so she was in the toy room here. She keeps wanting to steal that Gene Hackman figure from me there, as you can see, because I found out that we actually live really close to each other. I didn't even know that, and total coincidence that we found that out. And so she came. It was funny because we both went to the same store and saw that Lex Luthor figure, and come to find out she wanted to buy it. And then when we were talking online, I told her that I got that, and she's like, "Wait, you're the one who bought that?" Because I wanted that. So I had to keep an eye on her. I had to keep an eye on her when she came in there. And so now I'm keeping that figure really close to me, just in case. But no, we love Meg. And so she was at the movie when we did the movie, and I said it there, and I meant it about her, and I mean it definitely about you and Cole. You guys are royalty. That's why you're the Nerd Queens. That's why you're the Nerd Queens. And so welcome.
If you actually knew where that nickname came from, it's not anywhere near as glorious. But
oh, really? Well,
yeah.
well, then you know what? I think it's good. So unfortunately, Cole couldn't be with us, but I am blessed and glad that you can be here with us, and we're just gonna have a good time. We're just gonna talk, get to know you a little better, maybe, because I know all of you guys are kind of grouped together everywhere you go. Mm-hmm. So this will be a good time where I'll get to know, and our viewers will get to know you a little bit better. So I guess start up by telling us, where did you guys get the term then, Nerd Queens?
So, we wanted to do like vlogs and stuff. It was supposed to be travel thing, but it kind of developed. But we were thinking, okay, we want to do vlogs. We want to kind of take it seriously, and we want to do something that's ours, that cannot be copyrighted or any of that stuff, like by somebody else, stuff like that. So we were thinking, what should we name ourselves? And here comes the fun part, because I was thinking we couldn't think about anything. And then I went back to my mom, because she would always, I was this kind of a kid who would always do things that were not the typical girly stuff. And my mom's usual response was, can you be a normal kid for once? And she used to have a saying that I am a queen of these crazy things. And I'm like,
Okay.
well, why don't we use that? Because we are the queens of absolute crazy stuff, stuff that, like, we are queens in the sense that we just like the stuff that you wouldn't expect us to like. And so I went with that to call, and she added the Nerd Queens. So that's how Nerd Queens came to be.
Well, that's awesome, and I think it's fitting, because you all have done so much to be leaders, I think, in this movement over the last few years, and to really stand up. And I know that right now, we're kind of in the middle of this big push, Us United, hashtag Us United. And we definitely support that. And that's this idea, for those of you who don't know, it's this idea that we all come together, we all celebrate our fandom, we all celebrate our way of loving what's going on right now, and supporting the movement. And I know that there's the idea that, there's no leaders, we're all just doing our part. And I agree with that. But also, we do have to recognize when people have stepped up and done something to really unite people, and so I definitely think that you and Cole, along with Wonder Meg, you guys have definitely done that in uniting us together. So I definitely look at you guys as royalty and as queens. I've got my own queen, the lovely Tiff-tastic, who is
I love it.
she's my queen, and so she gets the same thing, Nana. Like, she's the girly girl, but yet she loves dressing up. She loves, we go to Comic Cons and have fun, and she's sometimes nerdier than I am, because she'll get all dressed up. She loves dressing up Harley Quinn. She does that, and so I'm just thankful that she's as nerdy as I am, and we need that. We need both. It's not just a guy or a girl thing. I love the fact that nerd culture has evolved into something for everyone.
Oh, definitely. I think, like, to kind of give it a context, because I kind of see how, it could, like, the first thing that would come to your mind when I said this is, girls and boys. The fact is, I come from a place, I'm not, English is not my first language. I come from Czech Republic. And where I grew up, these nerdy things, it wasn't a big thing, Because, I was born 3 years after the Iron Curtain fell. And at the time, there were not many shows translated that I could watch. There were not, like, my hometown to this day doesn't have a single comic book shop. So where I grew up, these things were not around. So when I came home and I was like, hey, I like this, the question was like, where did you even get it? It was like,
Yeah.
Where did it come from? Like, what happened? What happened to you? Where did you bring this from? And honestly, I brought comic books home only like when I was like 19, 20. Like, I was a ice hockey kid. So I only brought home comic books way, way, way after. But still, it was like, where did you get it? It wasn't things that were popular. And there are small conventions in Czech. Now they're getting like a big convention going, and I hope they do it well, because I know a lot of people who are behind it. But yeah, it's, it's kind of just still a niche thing, I would say. The community is not as big. So for me, when my mom would say, you're a queen of the weird things, it was also because it's generally just weird.
Hmm. Yeah. And, you know, and that's fine. I know growing up, even myself, you know, I was always into nerd culture. I was always into that stuff. I mean, I grew up with Superman being just a huge part of my young life. I was born in 76. So I remember going to see, you know, Superman the movie at 2 years old. I literally remember going to see it. I have vivid memories of going to see it. And Superman was just always one of those characters that stuck with me. My son's middle name is Jor-El, even. Because of that, because I really connected with that character, not because he was just, you know, a superhero, but because I just always felt that Superman was the epitome of what a man should be, of how he should care for those that he loved and those, you know, around him. And I always loved that about Superman. And so, so growing up though, I was always the kid that, like, I would bug my friends, you know, my friends, you know, I remember when my first friend got a VCR and had a copy of like Return of the Jedi, and he never wanted to watch it. I'd go over to his house all the time. I'd be like, dude, come on, let's watch Return of the Jedi. I'm like, you actually can watch it anytime you want. And he's just like, I don't want to watch that. And I'm just like, oh man. And I'd be bummed out.
You know how my experience with Star Wars came to be? Because I knew Cole by then like 4 years, and she is absolute Star Wars nerd. Like, if she could be here right now,
oh yeah,
you guys would have a full-on geek out. She absolutely loves Star Wars.
Oh, that's awesome to know.
And I mean, I love it too, but not to the degree that she loves it. There's like, I can never catch up to that. But she would bug me, you know, like, watch it, and I wouldn't. And then I moved to the States, because I went to do an au pair there, and we would have this like an outside place with like a projector and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the summer we would sit out, and my host mom used to be, well, my host mom is a massive Star Wars freak. So we watched Star Wars there. And so my first experience watching Star Wars was sitting by a bonfire watching Star Wars on a projector on the summer night.
Oh my goodness. That's a great,
yeah.
That's a great memory, to be able to have. Yeah. That's good to know. So when we do have Cole on, I will make sure then that we talk Star Wars, because Star Wars was definitely, Star Wars and DC comic figures were just that was my childhood. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was everything to me. And it just always stuck with me. And even as I got older, it's like, even now, it's like I sit in a room full of toys, and my house is, you know, pop culture, just everything. And people joke with me that I have the right wife, and, you know, because she's into all that stuff with me, and my kids are into it. And yeah, nerd culture is just one of those things that people they either understand immediately and they're like, yeah, I get it. Or they just kind of look at you like you're weird, like there's something, you know, wrong with you, that, you know, it's like, why are you into these, you know, fictional characters and things? And I think people, they downplay that. They don't understand that these fictional characters are our modern day myths. They're our modern day, you know, heroes that we can look up to, just like people did, you know, in the past. Real quick, I do want to say a shout out here to Q. Hello, my fellow Michigander. We're from Michigan. So thank you so much. Also, Benson's.
You know what? That's where I used to live.
You lived in Michigan. See,
yeah.
look, there's all kinds of connections here. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome to know. So hello to Benson's, who's in the UK. I appreciate your kind words.
Where I am now.
Yeah, I know. So see there, we got all these connections. So thank you so much, Benson's. Appreciate your support for sure. And then thanks to Tom Hanks. He says the SAG's back. Great job with Justice Con ladies. Keep it up. And then lots of people saying a shout out to you in the chat. So people are excited that you're here. So I guess the question is then, how, if you weren't exposed to nerd culture a lot, you know, when you were a kid, how did you, so was it just coming to the States, or was there something else that connected you with that?
For me, so I was a jock kid. Like Cole once said it jokingly, but she was very right. Like for me, when I was a kid growing up, ice hockey was a thing. Like I didn't have anything else. But I first came across a comic book, but it was very briefly, and it wasn't really like a passion on a first sight or anything. When I, because I used to be a massive fan of My Chemical Romance, I still am. But when Gerard Way decided to go comic book route, the first comics I came across were the Umbrella Academy, because I was searching it out, because I wanted to know, because I was a Stalker fan, right?
Sure.
But it wasn't like, oh, I'm obsessed with this and I want to keep this and this is my thing now. No. I had an injury where I had to stop playing because I was a hockey goalie. And when you're stuck for 7 months, can't walk even down the stairs from your apartment, you kind of get bored. And I had a flatmate and in college or university or whatever you want to call it, and she was big into like nerd culture, Lord of the Rings and all that stuff.
Sure.
And she saw me sulking and she was like, okay, I'm done, we're gonna do something. So we are either gonna watch Lord of the Rings with the director's commentary, or we're gonna watch Watchmen. And I was like, I'm not watching Lord of the Rings with the director's commentary. I'm sorry, I'm just not. And so that's how we watched Watchmen.
So are you not a big fan of Lord of the Rings?
See, I like Lord of the Rings, but I'm not like, I would sit through the director's commentary extended edition kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not that. And
I'm
honestly,
right there with you. I'm right there with you.
What I found odd, because everybody was like, well, Lord of the Rings, when you read it, it's gonna be easier to read than Hobbit. But I found it the opposite, which is strange. Apparently, I don't know. But yeah, I do like it. It's just not like, it's not the thing that I would, if I were to choose, like, say, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Harry Potter, or DC, I would probably put Lord of the Rings at the fourth, because it's just not the favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we watched Watchmen. I had no idea what it is. And yeah, Zack Snyder got me into the nerd culture pretty much. Yeah, because it was just downhill from there. Next thing I knew, I had a graphic novel because I had to read. I absolutely love it. I still love it to this day. Like, it's my favorite thing. And then, it was just DC from then on, also because Cole's influence, like she's a big DC fan, and so, she surrounded me by DC characters. So by the time, I started watching movies, I didn't actually have any like emotional relationship as far as MCU characters go, because I just didn't know it. But then DCU came around, and that was obviously my thing.
Well, that's awesome. Cause yeah, I see, I'm that way too, when it comes to Lord of the Rings. Like, everything says that I should really like Lord of the Rings because I'm just so into nerdy stuff, and I like it. But I found myself too in that kind of position where it was like, it just wasn't my favorite thing. I had a lot of friends who were really into it, especially when it first came out, and they too wanted to watch, like, the 3-hour cut of it or whatever. And I would just always just kind of find myself like, can we watch something else? Cause I'm more into these other things, but coming in at Watchmen, I mean, that's just such a great place to come in. I mean, into nerd culture and everything. Cause man, Watchmen is so good.
I like to think, I would say that if it were something else, if we did watch that Lord of the Rings and not Watchmen, I don't think I would have as close to the nerd culture as I am. Like, there was just something about the deconstruction of the superhero. It was just something that really spoke to me, something that I was really interested in. And that's kind of what opened the floodgates in that sense, that then I started to be interested in the other stuff as well. I don't think like that watching a normal superhero movie would do that what Watchmen did.
Yeah. Well,
I just was looking for it.
Yeah. Well, because it's such a deconstruction of what superheroes are in Watchmen. And it kind of, that's what I really love about Zack's vision for these characters, because like, where I know a lot of people really loved, the Dark Knight trilogy, by Christopher Nolan, and those are fine. And I really like them. And, one of the things that I really loved about Batman Begins was the fact that they kind of put Batman in this real world kind of situation. Right. And so that's great. That's awesome. But what I liked about Zack's version was he kept the superhero aspect of it. But he was very true to the comics, but yet really painted these characters in such a light where he really constructed, you know, who they are, what they are, especially with Superman. When I saw Man of Steel, I walked out of Man of Steel just going, man, this is the Superman movie I always wanted to see. This is who Superman is to me. And it's because that's how Superman's been written in the comic book since like 1986, where Clark is the real person. Clark is having to deal with all of these issues and feeling alienated from the world and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I completely understand, you know, how that would draw you in. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, I think that like where I was, you know, at the point of, and I still look for it. Like for me, you know, somebody's mentioning V for Vendetta, which is obviously amazing. I love that too. I just like the concept of things not being black and white, because I don't think that's what real life is. And if you give me black and white stuff, it's just not gonna, you know, it's not gonna click with me, because it's like, that's, I mean, it's stupid to say it's not real because, you know, obviously superheroes, you know, and all that stuff, but it's not relatable because things are not black and white. And if superheroes existed, and that's what I really like about Zack's portrayal of Superman, you know, everybody, like, you see people online and you see them complaining about Superman with Zack's portrayal of him in the Batman v Superman, but they just don't understand. Like, if you were in that situation, if Superman actually existed in our world right now, do you honestly think that you would accept him differently? No. You would be one of those people scared to death protesting out there in front of the courthouse, because that's just what we are, you know? Like, that's what humanity is. It's not necessarily a bad thing either. It's just because we are, you know, we know that if there is somebody stronger than us, obviously we fear it. It's not necessarily our flaw. It's just part of who we are. Yeah. It's a self-preservation thing. It's not a crime. But it's like, you can't discard this thing on a base of making a movie that's perfect. You know, that's just not how it should be.
Well, it would be scary. It would be really scary. Look, I love, you know, and I agree with you, Nana, completely, because look, growing up with the Christopher Reeve, you know, Superman is fine. And I appreciate that Superman for what it is, and that era of Superman and all the eras of Superman, even back, you know, to when he was created in the 30s. I you know, and then the 50s with George Reeves. I feel that every era of Superman reflects its time. And there was an innocent time where I think people could look at that, and you look at like when Superman reveals himself in Superman the movie, and you know, he saves Lois, you know, in that awesome moment, you know, with the helicopter and everything. And that's a great piece of cinema. But if you break it down, like you said, you look at, okay, if this was in real life and we saw some guy in bright spandex flying around who's an alien, that would scare us to death. Somebody who had those kind of powers and all those questions. And that's what I love about how Batman questions Superman, because if Batman were real, knowing what we know about Batman, he absolutely would question somebody like Superman and not just accept him at face value that, oh, he's a good guy. You know, I love that.
You can't, like, it's, you know, it would be naive to just accept that he's a good guy. Obviously we know it because we're going in as the viewers, but that's not the point. The people who are supposed to, you know, portray real people in the real situation, and that, you know, you can't know who that person is. They literally fall from the sky. Like, who is this? What do they want from us? You know, like, there is no scenario under which I can imagine that people would not be outraged and scared, at least to a point, when facing Superman, especially not in the times like these.
Oh yeah. Well, and you look at Man of Steel, where, you know, I hear a lot of people, well, Superman should have taken Zod away from the city and fought him away from the city, you know, where there was no collateral damage and stuff. And it's like, what world?
Like, then it was Zod's point to cause as much damage as possible. That's what he came to do. Like, and you have a young Clark who doesn't know what he's doing. like, trying to save as much as he can and save the planet while facing probably the only his own people that like he's ever gonna meet. Like, it's just the moral dilemma. I love it because it just makes you question your own stuff. It makes you think. It's not just something you go watch and eat a bunch of popcorn and leave and never remember it again. Like,
yeah, and you brought up the Marvel thing, and it's like, so I had, personally for me, there were Marvel characters that I did like growing up. There was Spider-Man, and I was aware of the Hulk, but I never read those comics, and I was never like really into Marvel characters. But as the Marvel movies came out, I had a lot of friends who were into the Marvel movies, and obviously they were very popular. And so I would go to those movies, and I really liked, like the first Iron Man. I really enjoyed some of that stuff. But like you said, like I felt like by the time we got to Avengers, like there was no consequences. Here they are. They're in New York. They're fighting these aliens. There's, alien ships destroying buildings and everything's falling off and everything. And it's like they just all kind of stand there and pose. And the only time you felt anything was when Tony Stark kind of went through the little wormhole there and was kind of, you thought he might die for a second, but like you never thought about the people that were around. It was just, oh well, we just got everybody to safety. Just take for, we'll just tell you we got everybody to safety. Where in Man of Steel, you see people trapped. You see people going through these things, and I think especially for us here in America, having gone through 9/11, and just I remember the anguish and the fear just surrounding that. I mean, the imagery was very much there for the concern, but like you said, to see Clark having to kind of learn on the job, and like when he does have to kill Zod, that anguish in him, that's some of the, I mean, that's obvious to me. It's some of the best superhero stuff you're ever going to get.
Yeah, I agree. I just, like, my issue with MCU movies, and I've seen most of them. I think that I don't know what I haven't seen. It was like one of those recent ones, but like I've seen most of them. And my issue is that, first of all, they're not memorable. Like the movies that I remember the most are the ones that royally pissed me off. Like I have, I could write like a book on my issues with Thor Ragnarok or Endgame, but so it's not memorable. I just, there's no iconic quote, there is no iconic moment that I can just like come up with on the spot and be like, oh yeah, this is it. No, I just didn't have it. I don't feel like MCU films have that because they don't put as much effort into making things relatable and real, because it's just there. Like at the end of the day, MCU always comes up, black and white to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave you, no movie leaves you with the question like, was it supposed to be like that? And I think that's, the problem. Like when I saw the Infinity War, or when I knew that Thanos going to be there and there's this whole thing with half of the planet being gone, that itself would be such a great topic to explore in that gray zone, because it is something that like you could go in so many ways with it, and they just didn't. They made one remark of it at the end game, like, oh yeah, dolphins are back there and there, but that was it. There was absolutely no exploring of this issue that we may be facing, and we are facing it right now with global warming and overpopulation and all this kind of stuff. They did not delve into it at all, and they could have. It was right there. They could have, and they didn't. And that's like, I think that's one of my problems with it.
Yeah, the subject is definitely there, and the material is there to do it. But I just feel like you said, like a lot of times they just don't pull the trigger. And I think that one of the things that probably bothers people about DC movies, and like ZACK's interpretation especially, is it's not just rosy. It's not just cheery. It's not just the best side of everything. It's a reflection of who we are and the real life situations that we have to deal with. And how are we going to deal with those things? And like you said, it's not always so cut and dry. It's not always so black and white. It's not just so easy that we can solve all these issues and wrap them up, nicely in a bow by the time, our 2-hour movie is done. It just doesn't work that way. And I love that about Zach, that he really makes you think in these superhero movies about yourself, your own challenges with how you deal with life, how you deal with people, and these superheroes, which have always, I think, kind of been a reflection of us in the different times that they've been presented. This is the perfect reflection, I think, for our world today. And so, great stuff. I do want to say shout out to DC Talk with Extended. Thank you so much for that, for the $5. And thank you to Tony. This is Tony. He gave us the last $70. I don't know if you heard at the beginning. That's awesome, Tony. You're awesome. That means then we're funded for this brick that we're going to put at the Superman Museum in honor of Zach and his family. And so thank you to everyone. So now I got a job to do. Yeah,
I'm sure you love it.
Well, I hope that he can see that just as a token. I like I said, my family and I we went and visited the Superman Museum this last summer, and just going through that, I sat there looking at some of the names, and there's some celebrities that have purchased bricks there and stuff, and I just thought, without getting into obviously the tragedy that befell the Snyder family and everything, to just be able to honor him and his family, him and Deborah, for just what they've done, what they've meant to all of us, and the Superman mythos and these characters and everything. I could think of no better place that he'd be memorialized there than at the Superman Museum. And so it's a blessing for all of us who can go to the Superman Museum and see that it's there. And then also for all those people who don't like Zack Snyder stuff, they have to go and they have to see Zack Snyder's name there memorialized. and they can blame me. They can blame me all they want. We got people who already want to blame me. It's funny because I don't feel like I'm anything in this bigger scheme of things, Nana. I've been on different people's streams, and this a couple months ago when I had this whole thing blow up when Ray Fisher retweeted my tweet or my video that had to do with some controversial things between him and Andy Signore and Jody from Jody's Corner. I had just started kind of speaking out. I had always been a supporter of the Snyder Cut and wanting that and everything, but I hadn't really been somebody who, was just out here just pounding the pavement on it, and then it was like once we were getting it, I was happy for it. I was excited about it. And when I started seeing people who were toxic against it, that's when I really started speaking out, because I was just like, look, if you don't like it, don't like it. You don't have to like it. One of the things, Nana, that we're all about here at the Poindexter Lounge is about hearing each other out, about enjoying our fandoms just for what they are, regardless of if we all agree. But when I started hearing people just be absolutely toxic and just degrading and negative, that's when I started speaking up. And I found myself in the middle of kind of a controversial thing. And I thought it was funny because all of a sudden I had people calling me the leader of the Snyder cult. And I was like, what? Like, who am I? Like, I just got this little channel here. Like, what are you talking? Where do you get that I'm the leader all of a sudden of the Snyder cult? Which I thought was really funny when this Us United thing came out and it said like there's no leaders and stuff. I thought that was perfect, because it was just like, yeah, like, what is all that about? That I'm this leader of the Snyder cult. Like, I'm just like, nobody's heard of me. Like, who cares, who Enosh is, but it was just funny because it's just toxic people who have nothing better to do than they got to find, somebody to blame. And so I thought it was even funnier when we came up with this idea to put this brick there. I thought, well, if they get mad and they go to the Superman Museum and they see it there, they could just blame me, Nana. They could just put it on me. I don't care. I don't care. But thank you so much, Tony, who's a supporter of the channel. Thank you so much for taking us over the top, man, and making sure that we are going to be able to do this now and do this in honor of Zach. So I guess that leads me now into kind of a different thing. So we've mentioned Cole a few times, and obviously you guys are together. You're the Nerd Queens. So how did you and Cole meet?
We are the randos from the internet. We met on a Harry Potter website. There was this one, like there was an attempt to make sort of like Harry Potter social media.
Okay.
And basically what it was is me not really speaking English very well. I walked in there and I tried to pretend like I do speak English. I don't know where I got that confidence. I really don't. I'm glad that website's gone. I wouldn't want to see the receipts of that. But yeah, no, so I walked in and I was all confident, and my English was terrible. And we found ourselves in the same group. And what they used to do is, you know, he would like sign up and they would sort you into these like dormitories. So you would have like a small group chat where you would be thrown with the random people. And that's where we were. So it was like really massive coincidence that amongst those thousands and thousands of people, we were just thrown into the same group, and we hated each other's guts. We couldn't stand each other for so long because we are so similar that we just clashed. Like we were both, you know, very like, how to put it, we are like very strong personalities, so we clashed in the sense that, you know, we both wanted to take the place in that group that was kind of like the top person. And then one day we ended up alone in the group chat because everybody else was like sleeping or something, and we started talking, and she found out that I'm not, you know, from English speaking country, that it's like my fifth language or so.
Oh, wow.
So she was like, oh,
makes sense now. Yeah,
makes sense now. And we started talking, and then we like exchanged Facebook names, and then we started Skyping, and essentially that's how it began. And then that was about 10 years ago now. And then when I moved to the States, we met face to face first time, and people really loved the story of how we met face to face, because I was at like a orientation at the hotel where they were going to tell us like all about, you know, au pairs and America and all that stuff. And we were allowed to leave the hotel, but nobody really ever, you know, tell us that we can leave with someone. And I already told Cole to stop by. So she's pulling into the driveway of the hotel with the car. And I see one of the people that were teaching us. And I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So she didn't even manage to stop. I opened the door, jumped in, and yelled, drive. And that's how Cole and I first met.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's great. It's funny how we can get to know people that end up becoming our lifelong friends, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't imagine right now. I can't imagine, you know, doing this stuff without her. I wouldn't be where I am without her. And, you know, I hope that I had a similar influence on her, but yeah, like I owe her a lot. I don't think I would be where I am living in the UK and all this stuff if I didn't meet her.
Well, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I know there's so many close relationships that I have that, it's amazing how you come together. How, you know, I often joke about my wife, even because I met my wife in Canada. I'm a musician, and I met her playing at a music festival in Canada outside of London. And it was funny because we were young, we were both dating other people, and our life just took completely different. Like we got put together, we were setting up lighting equipment, and so we were up till like 6 a.m. setting up lighting equipment, just laughing and talking and stuff. And there was a connection there, but it was always just this friendship, you know, like and it was funny because she used to get on my nerves because, you know, she went off, she got married, I went off, I got married, we both had different lives, and just every once in a while, you know, I would talk to her or whatever. This is back in the AOL days, you know, back in when we had America Online for that. And so it'd be funny because I'd be up like really late, you know, recording some music or mixing something. And I'd be online for something or another, and I'd be just ready. It was always, she had a knack for it, Nana. I would just be ready to sign off. And then all of a sudden, a little blip thing would come up and it'd be like, hi, Enosh, how are you? And I was like, oh, no, she'd be like, how's the family? How's this and that? And it'd be like, oh, yeah, things are good, Tiffany, yeah, hey, it's good to talk to you. And I'd be trying to get off the line with her. We joke about that now, and, but, we ended up becoming good friends. And then, life ended up throwing some weird stuff at us. And we lived an hour apart, and, some way we found our way to each other. And, we talk about that. I mean, because she's my best friend, and I just can't imagine life without her. But it's amazing how life will take you on these weird paths that put you in contact with people. Even like my best friend right now, it's like he was just an acquaintance that I met through somebody else, and now he's he's been the drummer in my band for the last 10 years, and we're just inseparable. And so it's just inseparable. So it's just, yeah, it's cool how life takes you on that way. So you two have been, you guys have been doing all this stuff. You're obviously into this culture thing. How in the world did you guys end up in the position that you're in? Like, what happened that allowed the Nerd Queens to do what you guys did? I mean, obviously this summer you guys put JusticeCon together, and oh my gosh, like, what an amazing event. What an amazing thing. You guys, it was like the rise of the Nerd Queens, man. You guys just all of a sudden rose from nowhere. And, and it was this, you guys are awesome. So how did that start coming about? How did you guys get involved in this community and just becoming leaders in this community?
I mean, I would never call us leaders. I think that for us, what it was, since we started, we always wanted to do something, to keep doing things. We wanted to keep it going. We wanted to keep it rolling. We started, or sort of our, hey, welcome to the movement thing was San Diego Comic-Con 2018. Because back then we have these bunch of guys, and Fiona approached us because they got a contact from Jason LeBoy about, hey, these two girls are going to San Diego and you guys wanted to do something for ZACK. So we got in touch, and they had this idea of replicating what Ray Fisher did in 2017 with the I Heart ZS shirt. Mm-hmm. And they had like 200 shirts, and they were like, hey girls, would you be up for handing it out? I mean, these people didn't know us and trusted us with it. And it was crazy, because at that point, we didn't know each other. We didn't know what we were doing. And the amount of trust that just like happened there was crazy. I guess we just felt like, yeah, this is going to work out. I don't know. But yeah, so we did it. Us and our group of friends that we have there, because we are going nearly every year, except for this year, obviously.
Yeah.
We kind of always camp out in Hall H line. So we were there, we handed out the shirts, all that stuff. We even made a video, which is still on our channel. If you guys want to watch it, it's actually still there. It's like in the middle of the night in the Hall H line, because we still had some shirts. So we were like, well, what are we going to do? It's middle of the night. We can't hand them out tomorrow morning. There is no time for it. So Cole stood up and she yelled, and suddenly we were surrounded by people and didn't have enough of those shirts.
Oh, wow.
So that was like, it was amazing, because we were so nervous about it. Obviously, you're going in, and that most of the people going in there are going to be Marvel fans, and you're, even though Marvel skipped that year, still, it's kind of like you're worried, especially after what you see online, like, how are people going to take this? But they were great. And we were thinking, what else can we do while we were still there? Because we were like, well, a lot of people tweeted us, where can I get the shirt? And obviously you couldn't, because it was a handout. And I was like, well, why, what if there was a charity for it? What if we sold shirts and the proceeds went to the charity? Turns out we weren't the only ones who had that idea. Meg had that idea too with Fiona, but they couldn't find a place where they could effectively distribute the shirts and send the money to charity without really touching the money.
Sure.
And that's when Cole started Googling, and that's how we found Into the People. which everybody knows today because so many shirts went through it.
Oh yeah.
And so that's how it came to be. And obviously, you know, then it kind of took off on its own. And there were so many shirts, you know, ZACK participated. He did, you know, shirt designs, and it's what it is today. I mean, it's crazy. It's like something that is like a tradition, and people love it, and people do their own campaigns, and it's great. But that was like our start on things. And then we just tried to, you know, participate in whatever we could whenever there was, you know, New York City Comic-Con or stuff like that.
Mhm.
But what happened is that Cole went on New Jersey Fan Fest, which is where Ray Fisher was. And I'm not sure which year it was. I think it was 2019, or maybe it was 2018 still. I'm not sure. But she went there and she brought him birthday wishes, and she brought him and she told him about what we did with the San Diego Comic-Con and stuff like that. And they had a really nice chat, but that was supposed to be it. Well, it came to play this summer before JusticeCon, turned out, because Ray didn't forget it. He remembered it. So when she texted him, he remembered her. And that's how we managed to be able to ask Ray to come on for JusticeCon.
Mhm.
But by that time, we already had ZACK, we already had Deb, we had already, you know, so many people. So yeah, I don't know. We just kind of, over the years, we tried to do whatever we could, and we met people, and the people knew people and stuff like that. I mean, one year we met Jay Oliva. That was in 2018. We met him at San Diego Comic-Con. Then the next year we met Ray Porter at San Diego Comic-Con. So we met all these people mostly by accident, or because, you know, we were at the right place in the right time. And then when San Diego 2020 was canceled, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Because we want to go. And so we were like, well, let's do a convention for everybody. And that's how it came to be. So we tried to pull an online convention where we would do, or get as close as possible to what we like about conventions. And we just essentially pulled all the strings we had and shots all the shots we had to see if, you know, people would come on. And it was really lucky because we basically didn't hear a single no.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and my goodness, those days with JusticeCon, I mean, you know, everybody promoted it, obviously, you know, coming up to it, and they were, you know, they were excited for it. But what you all pulled off with that was something truly spectacular. And you mentioned like wanting to do it the way that for the things that you like about cons, and I think that was really what made it special for me, because I was watching it and listening to it, and it's funny because like I was in the car with my family, and so like we had the phone on, and so I remember like, especially like during the Zack Snyder interview, like I had the phone on and I had it kind of go through the car, so I'm listening to it while driving and the family's watching it and stuff, and I just kept thinking to myself, the more that I watched you all, was that one, I could tell that you were all having fun, you know, that
Yeah.
that it was something, what, you know, because there's so many things that you watch interviews with people, and they just look like they're just going through the motions. They're so uninterested in whoever it is that they're interviewing, you know, and it's just like, it's old hat to them. And I get it. I mean, you know, I've met plenty of celebrities myself, and they're like, at some point, you know, the more you get to know somebody, the less, you know, of that intrigue and that, you know, that mystery is there. But still, yet you guys had that still. It was that innocence still that was there, and you were asking the questions that we would ask as fans. You were getting the responses that we would want to get out of people, you know, where it wasn't just the canned stuff, you know, and that was fabulous to listen to.
I think the special part of JusticeCon was how strangely it came about. It was not a typical convention in any sense, you know, like the people who went on, they went on from their own, you know, will to go for free, talk to, you know, 3 random girls for an hour. And that kind of, you know, that in itself was special, because usually these people, when they go to conventions, they're paid, you know, it's part of their job.
Yeah.
So when we were approaching them and we were saying, hey, would you go on? it's a charity convention, because it was a charity convention. The only money that you would spend were, you know, in the shop for merch, which all went to charity. We didn't make a single penny on it. There was never a talk about making a single penny on it. So it was a charity convention, and we went to these people. We were like, hey, we're doing this. We know that, you know, it's different, but would you be interested in doing it? And, you know, they were. We were lucky in the sense that, if I put it this way, people ZACK surrounds himself with are amazing people, because they were like, yeah, I'll do it, you know? And I think that speaks a lot on ZACK and on all of the people that surround him, that they're great character people. And what they did, you know, it was a massive favor to us. And we were extremely grateful that they did, because originally JusticeCon wasn't supposed to be like something, you know, big. Originally, we were actually going to do like, hey, let's invite like people who are popular in a movement, like streamers and so on and so on. And then it just started piling on, because we went to ZACK with the idea, and he was like, yeah, I think we should do it that date. And we were like, okay. We didn't even ask it. Like, we didn't ask him if he's going to do something. It was just like, what do you think of this idea? And he was like, yeah, okay. We should do it this day. And I was like, okay, we'll do it this way then.
Sure.
So, you know, a lot of people were on board right away. And for us, it was just one thing. It's like, you know, this is for charity. And what we want to do is we want to give the guests their platform to say what they want to say. So that's what it was. You know, it wasn't, you know, some press interview. And I know it wasn't, but it wasn't supposed to be. We wanted them to be able to tell us what they would like to say, especially with people like ZACK or Ray, because obviously there's so much stuff out there that people want to know, but you can't necessarily talk about it, you know?
Yeah. Trust me, Nana. Like I have been, I love Ray. I love what he's doing, and I get it. At the beginning of the show, I show that little clip of my grandma, along with it goes right into the clip of you guys interviewing ZACK, and I show that on the channel a lot, because I got my grandma to do that little, you know, release the Snydercut thing. My grandma raised me, and, you know, was a big supporter of me, you know, being the nerd that I am today, and so it's funny because my grandma used to tell me when I was a kid, you know, she'd say, always tell the truth, always speak the truth. But you don't always have to tell everybody everything, you know, right away, you know? And I think that like with especially the stuff that's going on now with, like you said, you know, some of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes and the stuff that, you know, that Ray Fisher is bringing to light. I'm reminded of that every time Ray releases a little bit of information. You know, I'm reminded of my grandmother's words, is you don't have to reveal everything that you know right away. Sometimes you need to hold things back for the right time. And I'm always amazed when I hear people who don't get that. Like they want answers. They want everything right now. And if you don't tell them right now, well, then everybody must be a liar and it didn't happen. And, you know, it's ridiculous.
We had so many people upset that we didn't ask about Bat Flag, and I was like, that was just not a question to ask. You know, we did ask about Green Lantern in the end, but it wasn't a question to ask. It was not something that ZACK wanted to answer, and you know that's what some people sometimes forget. You know, ZACK likes to announce his things in certain way. He has a plan for it. He always has a plan for it. I mean, we've seen his announcement. And he went to JusticeCon and he probably wanted to show certain things. He wanted to show us Black Suit Superman because that's what we got, you know? He wanted to tell us what he told us about the aspect ratio. That is not something that, you know, I don't want to say we got to choose, because to be honest, like I don't care, you know, whatever ZACK wants to tell me, hey, I'm here to listen. But,
just let the man talk. Just let him say whatever he wants to say.
Like, you know, whatever you want to say, I'm here to listen. But the thing is like people would, you know, poke about, you know, the movie info, and they would want to know, you know, like what secrets of the film and stuff. But come on, guys, it's coming out in a few months. We don't need the spoilers anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the fact that it's coming out. Now, how did you guys deal with that? Because I know, I mean, leading up, there were so many people speculating as to what the big reveals were going to be. I mean, there were people who did video after video after video. I mean, you guys put this thing together and it just kind of grew and grew and grew and
You know,
grew.
it was scary in a way, because like we never thought it's gonna be this big, you know. It was like, hey, we're gonna get 1,000 views max, and you know, it was just gonna be a small thing. And then you're doing Zack Snyder panel and you look at that number on the screen and there's 18,000 people watching you, and you're just like, oh
Man.
hide. And it's like, you know, and you're there, and you know that these people want to know certain things, and you know that you cannot ask certain things, and
Sure.
you cannot talk about certain things. And yeah, so it was tough in a sense, you know. I don't think I went back to like look at comments since like very shortly after, because people can be very mean.
Yeah.
And some of them really were, because they were like, well, we wanted to know this and this and this, and you didn't ask. But honestly, you know, the best way to deal with that for us was just, you know, if somebody was right in our eyes, we just blocked it.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, it was hard. I think the first like week or so, we felt really bad, which I was like, this is not how I'm supposed to feel after I've put on the event, but
Yeah.
we did. And then we just kind of were like, okay, we can't let the negative stuff get to us. Like the guests were happy with us, you know, like we haven't heard any single bad thing from them. So many people to this day, you know, are sending, like just today I got a text, thank you for JusticeCon. So, you know, so many people are still thankful for it. And it's, you know, we just had to sort of put the negativity away somewhere in the back, and just try not to think about it too much.
Yeah. And, you know, and it is sad that, that people, even people who are supporters of wanting the Snyder Cut, that they couldn't put that aside for you guys, you know, and understand that just because you're able to do some of this, I mean, it was great to just have you guys be able to bring us something like that when nobody expected to have something like that, and you guys outdid, you know, Comic-Con. You guys actually
I still remember how we came online after the first day and JusticeCon was trending. I was like, what did you do?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was fabulous.
It was surreal. I have a screenshot of it. I was like, I'm like, this is the highlight of anything I'll ever do. Like, I'm never you know, it was just, you know, it was strange. It was strange because you had these people really excited, then you had these people who were like really negative, and then you tend to focus on the negative stuff, and
Sure.
It's, you know, you have to kind of put it aside and just say, hey, out of all the negatives, the positives just so outweighed it. Yeah. And, you know, like I said, we try to bring convention that we know and love. And you say you like going to Comic-Con, so I bet that you can tell, you know, that that's what our goal was as far as the panels went. And, you know, to what we did our best as far as that went. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we can do even better. I don't know if we will, but if we will, the ideas are there. So maybe, who knows?
Well, I definitely hope that you do, because like I said, I really felt, and I mean it. And I hope that, you know, all three of you do know, and everyone who is involved knows that, look, all negativity aside, we all get, anytime you put yourself out there, and I mean, if you have a channel, you know, if you have a public voice of any kind, and you put yourself out there, you're going to get negatives. You're going to get these people
Yeah.
who they just can't help themselves. It's like they have to find something negative to say. And I mean, especially we've experienced that even here on our channel, just because we support Ray, and just coming out publicly and just supporting Ray and being very vocal about that, and and doing videos about that and whatever. And you get to a point, at first, you're going like, man, all this negative stuff, and it's weighing, it's exhausting, it is what it is. But then you realize all the people that are encouraged by what you're doing, that are finding a voice through what you're doing, and they're living something through you. And I think a lot of us, Nana, we lived something through all of you, in the fact, like, even like we were live, was it last week, at Halloween time, when you guys had the party and Zach showed
you had
up.
a Joe on.
Yeah, and we had Joe on, and Janita on. She came on afterwards. She was still wearing her she was still wearing her stuff, because she had written that article, in answer to the Forbes situation, that article and stuff. And so she was on, and she was sharing with us, and it was like, even that she was telling us, I just came from here, and Zach was on and stuff, and it's like, yeah, and it's, and I've seen Zach do that, where like Zach has popped in on a couple of people's streams, whatever. And I just see that kind of stuff. And look, I mean, first of all, like I would be remiss if I didn't say, like, look, that'd be the ultimate, right? I mean, to have somebody like Zach, somebody that you look up to, that you support, that, it's always like this abstract thing, like when you're thinking like, oh, these people, who are out here and stuff. And Ray Fisher has talked about, even, like, once things die down, coming on the channel and talking to us, and you're here now. And I consider you, like I said, I consider you and Cole, and even meeting, Meg and stuff, I consider you guys royalty in this whole situation. I really consider you guys something special. And, to have you here, and we were kind of talking about before we went online, this has been a tough year for a lot of people. And there's been a lot of bad and a lot of negative. But when I look at things like what you guys did with Justice Con, which was right in the smack middle of all of that, stuff, of us having to stay home and all those things. And here you guys were giving us something amazingly positive, and something that we could live vicariously through you, that it was like, I was smiling ear. I didn't even know that much about you guys, but honestly, to sit there and watch you guys as you interviewed, and I put this picture up, to watch the three of you as you're sitting there, and Zach is sharing information, and he's doing stuff, like, I was smiling ear to ear, because I was thinking, even myself, just as somebody who has a YouTube channel, like, how would I feel if Zach was on my channel sharing that kind of stuff and doing that kind of stuff? And I was just like, I was so happy for all of you, not even knowing you.
What I say, as far as this goes, don't give up. I mean, this stuff really can happen, and you don't even know how. But I mean, what we did and what Justice Con was supposed to be is, we were, and I always said it, we were blessed with the opportunity to meet all these people, whether it was Ray or Jay Oliver, or, obviously talking to Zach. We got an opportunity to do that. It was mostly by luck. It's not, anybody could have been in our place. It's not like, we are just a couple of ordinary girls. We really are not special. We were just in the right place in the right time. And basically, we were lucky, and we were like, well, when we do this, we want people to have chance to kind of have this, have this with us, because really, like, we are not special. We are not different. We just wanted to be like, hey, this is, amazing people we were blessed enough to meet. And here you go. Maybe, there is a little bit of that you guys can experience too.
Yeah. Well, I will say this though, and I definitely appreciate your humbleness and all of this, but it's funny, because like, when you get the ball, you got to know what to do with it, right? You got it. You know, you said you played soccer and like, you know, it's like you can kick the ball to anybody. I mean, like, you know, like we would say probably football, you know, here, American football.
Oh no,
or whatever,
I played ice hockey, but I played soccer.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You played ice hockey. So the same thing though is when you get the puck, right? That's, you know, you gotta know, you gotta know what to do with it, right? You gotta know what to do with it. And I just gotta say, I echo what Rasha says here, where she goes, but Nana, you're special to us because you guys definitely took the puck, you took the ball, you did something very special with it. So as we all appreciate, and I think that's what we all love about you all, is that you all are humble, and we could put ourselves in that situation feeling like, you know, it was all of us, because you guys have been so humble about it, but you guys really did. You took the situation, you made the best of it, and you gave us something that we can all hold very dear. And I would just encourage you even now, Nana, you know, even if people are still negative, like we even got a guy here, you know, and like in our chats, you know, that like gives us a hard time and he doesn't like anything, you know, whatever. And it's like, who cares? Right. Like I laugh about it now. It's like, whatever, because you know what? I try to surround myself with positive people who I know get it, who understand. And all I can do is try to educate other people. You know, that's all we can do is try to educate other people. And, you know, for everybody who says a negative thing, you're going to have somebody here like Geeks Cosmics Entertainment that says,
sweet to me.
That says you're the best, Nana, and Nerd Queens. Thank you for your hard work in the fandom, you know, and that's the things we do appreciate you. So don't listen to any of that negative, you know, junk. It's just people who don't know. And, you know, hopefully they get it one day. And, you know, hopefully when the Snyder Cut does release and we all see it and we're able to experience it, you know, hopefully it will bring some people around, but we all know that there's still going to be detractors. There's still going to be people who, you know, oh, it wasn't good. And they didn't like it, you know, and they had all these reasons for not liking it. You know, we're already prepared for that, I think, aren't we? Like we already know that that's coming, but so what? Because here's the thing, Nana, they can't take it away from us.
No, that's true. They can't.
They can't take it away. They can't take away the joy that we felt when we watched that Man of Steel watch party where ZACK announced that, you know, it did. I love how he did that. How he was just like, well, I can't, I don't know, you know, and Henry's
I was so nervous for Danny because like she went there and she actually went and asked, and it was like he started talking. It was like, oh my God, he's gonna say no. And it's like,
I know, right? Oh my gosh. As soon as that came out, I was like, I almost felt like, no, don't ask that question. Like
yeah, I know, right? It's like that feeling, like it's a question that all of us wanted to ask, but then when somebody actually asks it, you get so anxious because you are thinking, what if the answer is no? And it's like, you know,
oh, I know.
So I was so nervous for Danny. And I also like Danny is part of Snyder's Amazons, which is one of our projects. Which I don't know how many people know. Cole and I and Meg, we kind of banded together and tried to focus on bringing more girls together and do a little bit more, you know, in regards to podcasts and streaming and stuff in the fandom, bringing the girls to the spotlight because we feel like there are not enough of them. And Snyder's Amazons were the first thing that we did, which is like a podcast. There's 6 of us, obviously us 3. Then there's Kat and there's Nash and there's Danny. And we know that Danny struggles with the connection for a lot. Like ever since we've known her, it was always like, is the connection going to work or is it not going to work? You know, sometimes we go record and she just can't log on. So I was so nervous for her because I was watching the stream and I was so proud of her being there, being, you know, part of it. And she kept dropping out. And I was like, oh my God, I am so like, you know, I hope she can log back on because, and I didn't even know she's going to ask, but she asked, you know, and it's like, then when you think back, the fact that she kept dropping out, it was like, she was the first. So yeah, no, I was so nervous, but I'm so proud of her. And it's like, you know, she asked the toughest question.
Yeah. And I think we were all really nervous when she dropped that question. I mean, I remember watching it and just going, is that a good idea? like, you know, like you said, it's like, oh, but what if it's not coming, and there was all that
Well, the only
speculation.
thing that I kind of held on to was because, like, obviously they were asking beforehand, for people to submit the questions. So I assumed that when they selected people, they selected them from that. So they probably purposefully selected her for this.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That was like the only thing that I kind of thought about, because obviously they were selecting people. They said you submit your questions in the comments. I think it was on a Vero post, and then they picked people out. So yeah, so I think that, they wouldn't pick her, or at least that's what I kept telling myself when they started talking about mustache and all that stuff with Henry. And I was like, that this cannot go wrong, because why would they pick her for this? And yeah, so that was like that. But you're still nervous, because you still kind of like, hey, we've been here for so long.
Yes.
And it always seemed so out of reach, even though it was so close. And then the question comes out, and you're just like, but is it going to happen? Is it really going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, like, sometimes I still have to, like, pinch myself. Sometimes it's still wake up and it's like, is this really real?
I know. Well, and that's things I remember making a live video right after it happened, because I was just losing my mind, because there's all that speculation leading up to it, and all those naysayers who were like, no, it's not going to happen. We verified that it's not going to happen, and how long have we waited for that? And then for it to finally be this release, and the way that they did it, I love the way that they did it, where Henry's like, well, just show the thing, like, just show what you got there. And he's like, well, I can show this, and I love Zack's way about him, because he's Zack Snyder, and yet he's this person all these people look up to, yet he's very just real, and
he's very, like, from my experience with him. Now, obviously, aside from Justice Con and the last stream, and we obviously had to speak in private before then, because we were setting everything up, and spoke with him and spoke with Deb. And from our experience, they're just so, they're just normal people.
Yeah.
And you really feel it. Like, you get on the call and you really feel it very soon. Like, you are so nervous just before, because, I mean, it is a Zack Snyder that you're talking to, right?
Yeah, right.
And so you get really nervous, but then 2 minutes in, you just don't feel it at all, because they're so kind, so genuine, and so nice, and it's just, they're really nice to talk to.
Well, and it's funny because when they were filming Batman v Superman in Detroit, I worked at a church that was just north of Detroit, and one day after one of our services, a guy who goes to the church, he came up to me. He knows I'm a huge Superman fan, and so he came up to me, and I knew that they were filming right then, and he comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Enosh, I got something to show you." And I said, "What's that?" And he holds up this picture of him and Henry working out together. Like
oh my God.
They're hanging out together, right? And apparently Henry was going to the gym that my friend works out at. And I was like, dude, like, that's awesome, right? And I'm just thinking, like, I'm so happy for him, I'm just like, man, that wow, that's amazing. And he starts telling me the story. He's like, yeah, he's like, I've been working out with him. We become workout buddies and stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me right now? And he's just like, yeah, man, like, we become workout buddies and stuff. And he goes, so actually, I guess Henry was like dating this guy's cousin at the time or something.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was some weird thing. And he's like, so he's like, before they leave, because they were moving on to Chicago next from Detroit. And he says, before they leave, we plan on having them over for dinner and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome. That's amazing, man. I'm so happy for you. And he just looks at me and he goes, well, if that happens, that you're invited, right? And I said, wait, what? And he goes, well, he's like, yeah, if we can make it happen, if Henry's schedule works out where they're able to come over for dinner, he says, man, I know that you're the biggest Superman fan like around. He says, you're absolutely invited. Both you and Tiffany, you're absolutely, we're going to have you over too. And I was like, I have never wanted something to happen, I think, so much in my life.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
When, and he just, like, for a couple of weeks, he just kept coming back. He's like, well, we're talking, we're trying to, make it happen. He says, I don't know if it's going to happen. And then I guess they got done with shooting a little early here in Detroit. And so they just immediately moved on to Chicago, you know? And so he's like, yeah, we weren't able to make it happen this time. And I was just like, oh man. But it was funny. My wife was teasing me and she goes, Enash, you're usually pretty cool and collected. And, I've seen you meet celebrities like when but she's like, but I also saw you meet Margot Kidder. And when I met Margot Kidder, I was, she said I turned into like this little kid, that I turned into like this 12-year-old kid, right? Because it was Margot Kidder. That was my Lois Lane growing up, and she's just like, I would have given anything to see how you would have reacted, Enash, actually sitting to dinner with Henry Cavill, like having him there and like knowing that you got to play it cool and be all chill and stuff like that. But like the millions of questions and fanboy stuff that like I know would be going through your head, just the amount of restraint, Enash, that I know that you would have to to exhibit in that moment. And so watching them just have a playful moment there before they announced the Snyder Cut was just that was just
funny great. Story, because I said I moved in 2014. I moved in the summer 2014 to Detroit. So I moved at the time when they were shooting. And I will never forgive myself for my little jock moment then, because my host mom took me. She goes, let's go downtown. Let's go check out Joe Louis Arena, because I was like, oh yes, Red Wings, give me Red Wings.
Yeah.
So we go downtown, and it was all blocked off because they were shooting Superman. Now, me now obviously would be like, okay, screw Joe Louis Arena. Let's go check this out. Me then, like, are they serious?
You're all mad and disappointed.
I waited my whole entire life to see an NHL hockey arena, and I can't see it.
That's awesome.
So it's like, so I remember this. It's just like, it's those little things, those little encounters that you just narrowly missed. I mean, Cole and I missed Mark Hamill. We passed by Mark Hamill dressed and as Trump Vader at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm not
really.
What were we doing? I think we went from Hall H to pick up our McDonald's order, and he was standing on the side of the sidewalk. Everybody's taking a picture with him, and he has the orange Vader mask on. Yeah. Because I don't know. I think that like it was all over the internet, so I hope you guys have seen it. If not, you can Google it. But anyway, so Mark Hamill, dressed as Trump Vader, and so we didn't know it was him, and he didn't speak, and so everybody was taking pictures, and we were just like, "Hey, dude, such a cool cosplay," and he just noticed this and then left, and then we got to our hotel at the end of the convention, and somebody posted a picture of him in the halls of the convention center. It was like, "Is that you?" Hamill himself, obviously on the thing, and he confirmed it, and we were like, we met Mark Hamill, and we didn't take a fucking picture.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be hard for me. That would be a rough one for me.
It was hard. It was really hard. Like, I am laughing at it now, but it was really hard. Like,
oh my gosh.
I was recovering for a solid month or two. Like, it was hard pill to swallow. Like,
oh man. Well, I tell you what, Nana, I've been blessed now to meet a few people who've played Superman. I've met Dean Cain. I've met Brandon Routh. I got to meet Tom Welling. So of the current people who are still alive, obviously didn't get to meet Christopher Reeve, but of them, I have not got to meet Henry yet. But I had that brief possibility of meeting him, and I didn't get to. But in meeting everybody, I know, I believe it. I believe it. But it's funny because what I love about Henry, especially, and I think this goes to show like how ZACK, in casting these roles, right? Mm-hmm. In casting these roles of how he went about this, because everybody so far that I've met who's played Superman, they get it. They get what they mean. Like even Tom Welling, that people, are all up in arms because he never put on the suit, and everything else, in Smallville and everything. Like even in talking to him, like he understood the importance. And it's funny because I wasn't a big fan of Superman Returns, but after meeting Brandon and being able to talk with him and hear his take on Superman. And like, he literally came around the table and gave me a hug and hugged my son, because, you know, he's a dad now, and he heard that my son's middle name was Jor-El, and, you know, there's that whole, you know, the father becomes the son and the son the father and all that stuff. And like, he gave me a hug. He did a shout out for the channel, and we just had this moment. And I just love that when I see things like that, especially with Zack's casting of these roles, that like each person that he cast has just been fantastic. Even like the Ben Affleck casting, that at first everybody was like, oh, Ben Affleck, how's that going to work? You know, and everything. And it's like, and then Ben ends up proving to be what I think has been the best Batman that we've seen, you know, comic accurate. And I love that about Zack, his attention to detail and accuracy, that it's like, even the naysayers, you can't argue with his accuracy. And just what he puts out there. So yeah, it's definitely a blessing to have seen and gotten what we've gotten, and to know that, like I said, naysayers can say whatever they want to, Nana. They can come at you. They can be mad at you for not asking the right questions or whatever, or they could be mad because they know what the answer is. But the reality is, at the end of the day, we're getting the Snyder Cut.
Yes.
And thank you to people like you and Cole and Wonder Meg and others. Just, you know, as we talk about this new Us United, you know, hashtag Us United, of us all just standing up, and like, even if we've gotten away from a little bit where people have kind of gotten their own factions, it's like we got what we wanted, and then sometimes people they kind of drift from that a little bit, because there's all this time in between, and there's the speculation and what it's going to be, and then people start, you know, taking sides. Guys, we're getting the Snyder Cut. It's here. Let's stay together. Let's come together under this banner and just support each other, support the movement. Don't let up with this.
Yeah, no, what I like about this event, when I saw it the first time, when I saw the statement and whatnot, what I like was the part where it said, you know, that like it encourages all the people to do something, you know, create, celebrate, do whatever you like. And I think that's important. I think that that's something that, you know, is cool if people do, because I feel like sometimes, you know, people would maybe feel like, hey, if I make an event, it's not going to get enough reach or stuff like that. And that would be such a shame. And I think that this is a good way to do it. I even tweeted today. So if you guys check, Nerd Queens is there. Yes, Us United. That, you know, if you make something, art, event, anything, put the hashtag in and tag us, and we'll try and boost it for you if we can. And I think this is something that, you know, anyone with any kind of reach, like if we can do this and sort of just boost each other up and just make it a celebration, you know, we got the movie, we won. So, you know, last year we were trending and we were trying to tell Warner Brothers, hey, this is a movie that we want to see. There is a market for it. We've shown that to them. Now it's time to celebrate properly, because it's, you know, anniversary is coming up. So, you know, I like this. I like this event. And I hope that a lot of people participate in it.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, I think that you're great. I think that you guys as a group are great, and I'm excited for the future. Right. There's all kinds of speculation and talk about what could come, what may come, what might not come, whatever. But at the end of the day, like you said, we won. I'm excited that we're not just getting a 2-hour movie. We're getting this 4-hour presentation of Zack's vision, to which I say, you know, to all the naysayers who are like, well, that's not his vision. That's not the cut. You know what? It's like, shut up. Shut up with that. Like, really, like somebody said that's like, it's like, you know, trying to get a cheap steak and they bring you the best cut and you're going to complain. Like, whatever, man. It's like, you know, we're
just, it doesn't make sense. Like, oh, that you were lied to. They're making on a 70 million. Are they making a whole new movie? Are you for real? It's like, and why should I be mad? Like, I'm getting extra, like, I'm getting
Right?
4 hours of content here. Like,
Oh my
in
gosh.
what world should I be mad about that? Like,
Exactly. Exactly. We're getting more than what we ever asked for. And like you said, just I think the biggest thing is for us to all remain positive, for us to just, like you said, do something. No, everybody, I see, like, I see smaller channels doing things, like we're almost to 10,000 subscribers, and it's amazing because in the bigger scheme of things, we're not one of these, 100,000 subscriber channels or something like that, that has, all this supposed influence. But I think about just what we've tried to even do to raise awareness and to make to make this known and to support this cause. And I mean, even in just our little bit of trying to support things, like I see how, like, we got kind of thrust even into, you don't know what's going to happen where your little corner can all of a sudden get some exposure to something, and you can be the one to bring some positivity
what,
to.
what I always say, like, what I say to people when they would, like, and I have people that would ask, be like, hey, can you girls do that? Because I don't, I can't do it myself, or I don't have the reach or stuff. When we started, we didn't have the reach either. I still don't think that we have a reach. Like, our channel maybe has 1,000 subscribers that we just recently crossed. Like, our most of our reach is because we tell Meg if she can boost us. Like, literally, we don't have the reach.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, you don't. I mean, yes, reach helps. It helps when you have people that you can share things to. But ultimately, literally, we are all the same. There is nobody in this movement who is more special than the other person. And it's not going to change just because somebody's followed by ZACK or any of that stuff. No, that doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you above anybody else. And everybody can try and do something. If you have an idea, if you think it's a cool idea, it's helpful, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You don't need a permission. You don't need any of that stuff. You just need to think about it and do it. That's it.
And I see people doing that every day. Like our friend Zeverfet, Ryan Zeverfet, he made these t-shirts. And
Still gotta get one of those. I like them.
Yeah, I ordered mine. It should be in any day. But they look great. Of course, Anthony makes it look absolutely fantastic because
yeah.
he's Anthony. I mean, I've seen the guy in person. He stood right here. He's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it's just funny because he put that out there, and that is going, 100% of the proceeds for that are going to to ZACK's cause, and and to helping with that situation. And so I think that's fabulous. People just stepping up and doing something and raising awareness, whether or not, like I said, it's our trying to put a brick in just to support ZACK and get that out there, or this. Everybody just do something.
It's literally anything. You know how to draw, then make something that you can draw. Or if you know how to work graphic design, you can do something in that. Or you can stream, you can write, you can do whatever. There is literally, like, that's what we built it on, that creativity is important and vision is important. And if you have some, it doesn't have to be ink to the people shirt. It doesn't have to be a GoFundMe fundraiser for a big billboard. It can be something smaller, but in the end, it can reach so many people you will never know.
Yeah.
You just need to put it out there. And it's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? If you put something out there with a good thought, and it's something that you do to honor ZACK and to honor his work and to honor all these people, you do it with a good thought, you do it respectfully, and you put your heart into it. I mean, you cannot go wrong.
Yeah.
there is nothing, yes, like obviously we were talking about the issue with negative people. They're always there, they're always going to be there, but ultimately, if you don't put it out there, you will never know.
No.
Ever. So just put it out there, and maybe, who knows, maybe somebody will see it, boost it, and next thing you know, you get much bigger reach than any of us.
Yeah.
Because it was just something that resonated with everyone at the moment. Nobody is special. Sometimes just, you are in the right place in the right time, or you do something right in the right place in the right time.
Yeah.
You can never know.
Yeah. Well, I know I speak for all of us, and I think this is a good statement. We do this together. And I definitely agree with that. I think that we all do this together, but Nana, I do speak for many of us when I say we are grateful to you and to Cole and to Meg and all those involved with your group, pushing forward and giving us what you guys gave us this last summer, and just giving us those moments and encouraging us, because I think that's the big thing, is this: we just need that encouragement. We need to hear from somebody that, to do those things, to take whatever little we have and just, hey, fill our own little world, right, with that, and put that out into the world, and it can make a difference.
Like, if I put it this way, for anyone who maybe feels like, hey, there is absolutely no chance, especially for people who maybe don't live in the States or in the UK, in the places where you're relatively close to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I come from a tiny little country that most people don't even know where it is. English is not my first language. And when I was growing up, the idea that I would ever meet people like ZACK was absolutely insane. It was just not something that people like me would be able to do.
Yeah.
Because it's just, where I come from, people who would make it in any way to have reach within the United States or in the UK, they're not there. They're just not there. Our language is so different. Our culture is so different. Not many people can do that. But if you want to, you can. Nobody's going to stop you. Like, yes, I've been told on every corner that nobody is interested in some chick from, bumblefuck nowhere in Czech Republic. I was told that by my own father, by the way. So,
wow.
It's like,
I will say this: you do have a pretty good command of the language.
Thank you. I put my heart and soul into it. Okay.
There you go. There you go. I mean, you're able to definitely drive that point home, Nana. You got that for sure.
No, but it's just like, you're being told since the beginning, and you're kind of being shown, okay, this is never going to happen.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to do these events or meet these people. And I'm not saying that we have, as I said, we don't have a big reach, but the truth is that if you told 15-year-old me that she's going to be organizing Justice Con, she would tell you that you're fucking crazy. Yeah. That's what she would tell you, because she would be like, you don't even speak the language. What are you going to do there? How are you going to reach out to these people? How are you even going to meet these people?
Yeah.
So if you ever feel like you're a nobody, you're always somebody, and you can always do it. It doesn't matter where you are, who you are. You can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I thank you for that encouragement, Nana. I thank you for being with us today. It's just, like I said, an absolute pleasure having you. Sorry that Cole couldn't join us today, but
yeah. Well, next time we'll be here both.
Absolutely.
We'll bring Mike too. We'll make it a party.
There you go. Absolutely. We'll have all of you. I know Meg and I, it's funny because I've been talking to Meg for so long, and we keep talking about having her on. We haven't been able to connect. So I thought it was funny that I was having you guys on before I even had Meg on, because Meg's literally been here in the room. Like Meg's literally been right here, and tried to steal my my action figure there. My big old,
she knows where you live now.
I know that's it's a scary thing. Scary thing. She's been here, man. Everybody kept teasing her that in all the pictures that she looks like she's going to she's gonna take that Gene Hackman figure out of here. But we kept an eye on her. We kept an eye on her. So
Yeah, you gotta set the alarm.
exactly. And much love to Meg. She's such an awesome person as well. And
Oh
just,
yeah, she's like, I mean, it's a teamwork. Everything that we've done, like especially this year, it was a teamwork. It wasn't something that we could do alone, especially with Justice Con, because it just let's face it, it was much bigger than we thought. I'm sure she'd agree with that.
I'm sure she was. Cylon was here too during that time. We got to meet her, so we had a great time with everybody. So yeah, him and his girl Sophie were here, and so yeah. Everybody knew the story that she definitely had her eyes on Jean for sure. For sure. But yeah, hey, Nana, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for
thank you for having me.
For coming on. It was great getting to know you. You guys do, I've seen interviews with you guys and actually I really enjoyed this kind of just getting to know you a little better and your perspective, because I think it's nice when because sometimes kind of we lose our identity if we're in a group, because everybody just kind of sees us for that group. And so it was a pleasure getting to know more about you individually and your experience in all this and to just hear from you and your positivity and your encouragement to the fandom. And that means everything. And so
thank you for having me. And I hope that, whatever I said, that it maybe inspires someone.
I definitely think it does. And listening to just reading the conversations that people are having, as we've been talking and stuff, I know that it means a lot to them too. And so we're grateful. We're definitely grateful. And we look forward to the future. Right. And I don't know what your plans are. You kind of alluded to, if we do another one, if we don't do another one.
People are asking, we genuinely don't know at the moment. It depends on so many things, and
yeah.
I've said it many times. I've said it today. JusticeCon was very unique in how it came together. And obviously doing it for second year would put some obstacles there that weren't there the first year because it was, it would have to be something a bit more, I don't know if I would say official, but, it would certainly put up certain things that would need to be done. Sure. And yeah, no, I'm not going to say we didn't talk about it. We did, but we don't know yet.
Well,
but
I
once
know
we do, you'll know. We'll probably do something awesome like that last announcement that we did. That was fun.
Yeah, well, I know it's like catching lightning in a bottle, and you guys definitely did that. So I hope that if it's possible that we get to see you do it again. But like I said, no one can take away from us the experience that we've had and what you've meant to us, and I just thank you for your support of ZACK, and and I'll just leave everybody with this thought, and that is, I loved the interviews that you got out of everybody, especially out of ZACK and out of Ray, and just the realness out of them and some of the things that they shared. But one of the things that I really loved that ZACK said that he alluded to was the fact that, even if no one saw his film, even if the Snyder cut wasn't even going to be a thing, wasn't able to be released, if they fought it tooth and nail and just, it wasn't going to come out, the response of the fans, the response of people for him and his family and being there for them, during obviously the tragedy that they went through, that's been worth it all for him. And that just means a lot because it's people like you, it's people like others who, like you said, are just raising awareness, doing something. And I, I'm excited that on the stream that you came on, that we were able to finalize this brick thing, and say, hey, we got the funding. We're going ahead. We're going to put this brick in. We're gonna show respect to this man who, it's not that we're a cult. It's not that we just blindly follow somebody into the night. It's that we believe in his vision for these characters. We believe in what he set out to do. And we don't like the way that things happened to him. And we don't like the way that he was treated, that others were treated. And hey, look, at the end of the day, we just want what's right to be done. We want wrongs to be righted. We want him to get his chance to tell his story. And at the end of the day, you know, I agree with what Ray said and has said. Accountability is greater than entertainment. And we're seeing that come to fruition because of people like you and because of the fine people like you guys watching who are taking a stand and you're doing what's right. And so, yeah, you guys just keep doing what you do. Keep being the queens that you are. And, you know, and I didn't even say it, but I want to say also to you a personal thanks because, you know, you're women and look, we didn't even get into that, but the fact that you're women and you are standing up in this nerd community in the middle of, you know, this, I don't know, it's something that has traditionally kind of been a guy thing, you know, superheroes and stuff like that, but you're women. And I know that there are some people who look negatively on that and try to say negative things about that. But for people like my wife, who is the biggest nerd right along with me, and is part of the channel here and is part of everything I do. I'm grateful, and I know she's grateful for women like you who are taking a stand in this community and being who you are and I know that we're trying to get away from that, like whatever that leaders, you know, kind of thing, but you guys truly are inspirational and you've led the way. And you know, just like Superman has to be that symbol that we all see, and you know, we'll follow him into the light. Hey, let's all follow into the light and take what we've learned from these wonderful people, the nerd queens and others, and let's all follow that into the light. And as I say, always, actually, Nana, where can we find you?
Well, online? Cole and I, we share the handle. It's always at the Nerd Queens everywhere, including the YouTube. I think YouTube is, since you were just talking about the women in the fandom, YouTube is very important right now. We are doing every other week, we're doing a stream called League of Mayhem. So it's every other week on Tuesday at 7 p.m. EST for about 2 hours. And it's female-based stream. So there is a bunch of girls, literally bunch of girls talking. Our goal is, we have sort of a group right now, but our goal is to be inviting more and more girls on, kind of try and bring more girls into the spotlight in the fandom and maybe give them a courage or inspire them to do their own streams, do their own things, because we feel like in the fandom, out of all the streams, how many of them are female? How many of them have girls? Yes. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to do. So if you want to come and check it out, we have one tomorrow. And yeah, Zach said he may stop by it.
Hey there.
We don't know. He said that on the last stream. Okay, we don't know, but
well, it's happened before. And so that's always
obviously
definitely...
he's not a girl, but we told him he can come in.
Hey, you know what? I look, I've like I don't care either, man. I love that kind of support. That's awesome. Like my wife, she jokes with me all the time because it's like I just don't care, man. I think it's awesome when women come together and do something like that. So that's fabulous. That's fabulous. So I hope to see that. I'll definitely be paying attention to that. So you guys have a wonderful stream. We'll hope. I know that he stopped in before. So you guys are just awesome. You guys are awesome.
Crossed, maybe. But yeah, thank you.
And hey, if there's anything that we can ever do for you here at the Poindexter Lounge, please let us know. We're absolutely willing to help and support in any way. You know, get anything out that you guys need to get out, and you know, and rally the troops. And you know, when Janita reached out to me with the whole Us United campaign, you know, look, we put that out there, and definitely believe in what everybody's doing, and support everyone. So thank you so much again, Nana, and I look forward to talking to you more, and to others. Tell Cole that we said hi. Tell Zach we said hi, and if he stops by, and that we got a brick for him, and then we're trying to do a little something here from our corner of the world. So thanks to everyone who's watched today. You guys are awesome, whether you watch live or you watch the replay, later on. Look, you guys know what we're all about here at the Poindexter Lounge. We're all about positivity. We're all about spreading some good cheer to everybody and having some fun. And so, like I always say, don't let anybody tell you that your fandom doesn't matter. Don't let anybody tell you that the things that you like don't matter, or the versions of characters that you prefer doesn't matter over somebody else's. Like what you like. Enjoy what you enjoy. Be positive, though, about it. And, support everyone that you can. And, as long as you're respectful and you treat everybody right, there'll always be a place here in the Poindexter Lounge for all of you. Again, thank you, Nana. And stay nerdy, everybody.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.